On a day when the sky poured down rain, a group of people from a martial arts school, their origins unknown, approached the Taoist temple. They called out, "Is the master of the temple here? We apologize for disturbing you. Before the ceaseless rain in this desolate place." A young boy unexpectedly appeared. The group was surprised to see such a young teenager. Seeing him blocking the entrance, the leader of the group understood and remained standing outside the temple. He had fierce, bloodshot eyes, and was probably around 50 years old, his face stern and scrutinizing. In such a dilapidated temple, there was actually someone living here. He then spoke, "Young hero, may we take shelter here for the night from the rain?" The protagonist remained silent, staring intently at the group in front of him. He sized them up, thinking, who are these people? Although I am young, they still bow respectfully with formal words. Do they think I am a young Taoist priest guarding this deserted temple? But they don't seem like bad people. Thinking this, he clasped his hands respectfully and said, I am also just someone who came to stay in this deserted temple a few years ago. You may rest wherever you wish. However, that hall is where I am currently staying, so please do not disturb it. I ask that you choose another place to rest. The leader, understanding, clasped his hands in return and said, Thank you, young hero. You are so young, yet so polite. We will do as you say. He then turned to his disciples and instructed, Did you all hear? Move quickly, do not go near the young hero's hall. Find another place to take shelter from the rain. Understand? They all obediently replied, Yes, master. Because the rain was getting heavier, the group from the martial arts school quickly and busily went to find rooms to shelter in. The main character stood still, observing the insignia on each person's clothing, and silently realized, so they are all from the same clan. I'm a little curious about what kind of people they are, but there's something more important right now. The protagonist politely bowed to their leader and then quickly left. He entered his main room. His excitement barely contained on his cute face. Oh, my loves, it's feeding time. He skipped along as if going to meet his beloved. Looking at the many jars in the room, he opened the lids, his face filled with delight. Inside the jars were insects that looked like crickets. The protagonist hugged a jar of insects, pouting and saying, We almost missed it, you must all be hungry, right? Then, he went to open another jar. And found a black earth tiger, a type of spider native to Hainan, China. This is a large spider that can grow up to 20 centimeters with a distinctive color reminiscent of a black tiger. He happily used chopsticks to feed a cricket to it. Blackie, eat well. Without you, I don't know what I would do. Seeing it devour its food made him happy. You were only as big as my fingernail back then, but now you've molted twice and grown so big. I'm so happy. Seeing that his pet had eaten its fill, he continued to a cabinet next to him. The protagonist opened the cabinet, revealing a bewangling lizard, specifically, a tokay gecko. This is also a native species of this place, characterized by the stripes on its body and tail. He showed off his unknown weirdness, exclaiming happily, In my past life, it was so difficult to find you because there was no source to import you, but here, I just need to go outside and I see you everywhere. I truly live for the joy of watching you. Finished, he fed it. Suddenly, the gecko jumped up and bit his hand, causing him to yelp in pain. Ouch! The root of the protagonist's raising of these creatures was his passion and fascination with insects, and especially the rare transmigration that had occurred. Because before that, he was a streamer in the modern era. As a famous streamer with millions of followers, specializing in creatures, a perpetually single man intensely passionate about the creatures before him. It wasn't difficult to say that his main topic was insects and poisonous animals. But the problem he encountered when preparing to upload new content was the live broadcast organized to celebrate reaching 1 million followers. The content of that broadcast was the 10 most dangerous venomous snakes in the world. Viewers of the live broadcast kept asking him, Where's the black mamba? Why can't we see it? Surely it's not really in Africa. You've tricked us. Show us the snake. Can't you? The streamer knew very well that, among those snakes, this one was famous for being the most dangerous due to its aggressive nature. Then, Going all the way to Africa to find a black mamba became a disaster. The streamer sat on his chair, sighed to his fans, and said there was nothing. There really is no black mamba, it's not like a stray cat you find on the street. After saying that, he stood up and told everyone that he would rest for a while and then continue searching. The audience, unable to wait for the results, excitedly replied, "You rest, we'll be here waiting. Go on. Hurry up and find it." The streamer, suddenly feeling thirsty, went to the refrigerator to get a drink. He lamented, "Damn it, why can't I find it?" Meanwhile, a snake was coiled on top of the refrigerator. And so, he was bitten in an instant. Feeling the pain from the snake's ambush, the streamer was startled and screamed. Due to the snake's extremely potent venom, the streamer became dizzy and collapsed on the floor of his apartment, simultaneously admitting, "I died instantly." Returning to the present, he was still engrossed in feeding his pet lizard. The protagonist thought to himself, "When I was looking for it, I couldn't find it anywhere, but it was hiding on top of the refrigerator." The master from earlier suddenly appeared at his door without warning. A second later, he spoke, asking, "Young hero, are you inside?" Afraid of having his strange hobby discovered, he quickly put the lizard back in the cabinet and closed it. Then, he cleared his throat and spoke to him. He stammered, "What is it?" With his amiable appearance, the master quickly replied, "We are very grateful for being allowed to take shelter from the rain. Would you like to join us for dinner?" Then, he added, "We just hunted a deer." Hearing this, the protagonist's eyes lit up, and he stammered, "A deer?" Hearing about meat, his eyes began to well up with tears of happiness, thinking about the hungry times when he had to skin and roast his own pets to survive. "I'm sorry, guys. All this time, I've only been eating snakes and lizards." He jumped up with joy and shouted, "If you're sharing, I would be very grateful to join you." The man from the Tang family happily turned and guided him, laughing in the rain, "Then let's go." After a while, the rain finally stopped. The bright moon shone through the dark clouds. At this time, all of them were sitting together around a campfire, with a large piece of venison placed on it. Seeing the deliciousness of the meat in front of him, he couldn't bear it any longer, his eyes widened, and saliva began to flow uncontrollably. Seeing his greedy look, the master didn't say a word, just silently observed everything, and finally said to him, "The meat probably needs a little more time to cook. While we wait, can I ask you a few questions?" He blushed with embarrassment at losing his composure in front of so many people, thinking, "I was so focused on looking that I lost my mind." The protagonist quickly and politely replied, "Please, sir, feel free to ask." Without any hesitation, he asked, "Do you live alone in these mountains in Hainan? How old are you?" After a moment of thought, his answer surprised the master. He said he was probably around 14 or 15 years old. The master asked curiously, "Probably around that age? It's not good to reveal your entire identity to someone you've just met, so he thought he should just make something up." Thinking this, the protagonist replied, "Ever since I suffered a head injury when I was young, I can't remember my past memories clearly." This touching story made the master exclaim, "What an unfortunate story." He asked curiously, "So you've been living alone here all this time?" The protagonist quickly replied, "Yes, because I have no skills, I live here catching snakes, skinning them, and selling them to make a living." The master's cheeks flushed slightly, and he replied, "Young hero, it's dangerous to go snake hunting at such a young age." Because he had extensive experience with venomous creatures in his previous life, it was quite easy for him. He bowed his head and replied, "I'm used to it, so it's fine." While the two were talking, an old man with white hair carrying a portion of cooked meat came and said to him, "I brought my cooked portion first, take this first." Hearing this, his eyes became brighter than car headlights, he clasped his hands together in joy. The old man looked at him happily with the steaming meat in his hand, saying, "I saw that you looked very hungry, so I said that." He also politely and quickly replied, "Thank you, sir." Holding the meat in his hand, he excitedly told the old man, "It's been a long time since I've eaten meat." As soon as he finished speaking, he took a large bite, chewing with increasing joy, thinking, "This is true happiness." Seeing him eating the still hot meat with such gusto, the old man joked, "Young hero, you eat very well." A second later, the man from earlier spoke up, "Young hero, eat and listen to me." His face, which had been calm, suddenly became tense, saying, "We are looking for something. Have you seen anything strange around here?" He asked curiously, "You mean something strange?" Seeing his confusion at his words, the master had no choice but to ponder, unsure whether he should say it or not. From the other side, the old man suddenly spoke, "Master, this young hero has done us a small favor, can we tell him?" He continued, "If he accidentally encounters it without knowing, it could be dangerous, and besides, he lives alone, he probably won't tell anyone." Hearing the elder's words, which were always correct, the master agreed, "Indeed, father's words are correct." Having said that, he said, "We are looking for a centipede with blue spots on its body." The protagonist was surprised and curious. A centipede with blue spots? In his mind, he asked, "A centipede?" The master then described its appearance succinctly, "Right, people call it the blue spot centipede. It's quite large, so perhaps you've seen it before." The protagonist was impressed when he heard about its size, wondering, "Large size, huh?" Then, quickly becoming curious, and with excitement asked, "If it's large, how large is it?" Based on what had been recorded, the master pondered and then replied, "If it's a fully grown one." The next words that were spoken made him panic, his face turning pale, his mouth agape as he heard the master simply reply, "Probably large enough to swallow the young hero whole easily." Hearing its abstract size, he thought, I thought I just traveled back a few hundred years." His face began to change color, thinking to himself, how could there be such a huge centipede? Was this a different world from the start? The master beside him couldn't help but say, "This young hero seems frightened." The old man with the white hair calmly stroked his beard, saying, "Don't worry, we came here to catch it." Hearing that someone wanted to catch it, he curiously asked, "Are you planning to catch it and raise it?" Hearing such a naive question, both the old man and the master involuntarily asked, "Raise it?" Then, the old man curiously stroked his beard and laughed heartily, saying loudly, "Raise a blue spot centipede? That sounds interesting." The person next to him tried to suppress his laughter and replied, "The young hero is truly amusing." The old man quickly stated the main purpose of today's trip. "How could we raise such a thing? We intend to use it to make medicine." Hearing that, his face, which had been enthusiastic, suddenly turned cold, and he asked, "What?" He clearly showed his displeasure, thinking, "I thought they were business partners, but they're just medicine sellers." Having just thought that, he asked, "Do you really want to do that?" The old man's face became serious when he heard the seemingly simple question. He clenched his hand and said, "Perhaps so, but my granddaughter is currently bedridden with a serious illness. It turns out the blue spot centipede is the last resort to help my grandchild." The old man said, "Only the inner core of the centipede's inner core, can save my granddaughter, so I'm trying to find it." The protagonist became surprised and replied, "If it's your granddaughter, then." Simply put, the inner core is a crystalline substance formed from the accumulation of vital energy within the bodies of animals that become spirit beasts, mystical beings. The master sitting next to him continued, "That's my daughter." The protagonist quickly grasped the situation, raised his hand to stroke his chin, and said, "The child is on the brink of death, so they want to try everything." Even though the centipede isn't medicine, the love of parents cannot be different. Observing the father's appearance, so devoted to his child that he would traverse forests and ford streams to find a seemingly non-existent creature, the boy felt a touch of empathy and thought, "Poor purebred centipede. But since I've been invited to eat, I'll help." Thinking this, he spoke up, "About that centipede." Hearing that he seemed to have a clue, the man's expression immediately changed, and he quickly asked, "Have you ever seen it before?" The boy replied, "No, I haven't." After hearing those words, the man looked like a lost soul, listlessly replying, "I see." The next second, the boy adopted a dangerous look and continued, "However, even though I don't know what a blue spot centipede is." Sensing a glimmer of hope, the man looked towards the boy in confusion, seeing that he seemed very confident as he opened his eyes wide and smiled slightly, saying, "I can guess where it is." With the experience of my previous life. Fabre, although I died after being bitten by a snake, but with the experience I accumulated, I can confidently say that I'm more confident in my knowledge of poisons than anyone else. He stated that among the approximately 8.7 million living species, about 20,000 are known to be poisonous. I have stored all the knowledge of them in my head, species by species, and centipedes are not an exception. With my knowledge, regarding its poison, it rests comfortably in the palm of my hand. Wei Soryong held the book and focused all his spirit, each page of the book continuously flipped on its own, emitting a magical light. After a while, he closed the book, gently opened his eyes, and said happily, "Found it." Soryong winked, excitedly saying, "So, if it's a large centipede, I think I know where it is." Tang Muzong also chimed in, "If that's true, then where could it be?" He thought deeply and then looked at the two, asking, "I wonder, which areas have you searched, and at what times? Could you tell me?" Although he didn't know why Soryong asked that, Tang Kielsan replied, "We searched the north and eastern areas around here, mainly during the day. In the north, we mostly searched along the riverbank." He rubbed his chin, murmuring, "I see." He thought to himself, "No wonder you couldn't find it." The two were stunned when they heard Soryong say, "Then of course you couldn't find it." Tang Muzong blurted out, "What? Of course?" The old man urgently asked, "Can you tell us why?" He smiled smugly, "All right. About centipedes, centipedes belong to the phylum Arthropoda, subphylum Myriapoda, class Calopoda. They have a wide range of activity and are poikilothermic animals. So they need a shelter to maintain a stable temperature and humidity. The interesting thing is, unlike most insects which have a waterproof cuticle, centipedes have a weakly waterproof cuticle with spiracles on their body surface, so they actually don't like places with too much water. While they require a high humidity environment, they dislike areas with a lot of water. Conversely, if there's no humidity, they also can't survive long. This is a unique characteristic of centipedes. Sitting on the porch, Soryong continued to provide information. Sitting on the porch, Soryong continued to provide information. Therefore, the blue spot centipede, with its large body, is highly unlikely to reside in dense forests or near rivers. Tang Muzong felt a headache coming on. "I can't believe it. So the place that centipedes like isn't crevices and rotting wood?" He explained, "Some small centipede species can be found in such places." "You mentioned a large centipede, correct?" Soryong continued, his words flowing incessantly. "If its body is large, then fallen trees in the forest or rocks by the river wouldn't be suitable, because there's nowhere for it to hide." After hearing this, Tang Kielsan and Tang Muzong looked at each other and nodded slightly. Sitting beside him, the old man worriedly said, "If we find it in the place you suggest, I will definitely reward you generously." He smiled confidently, pointing to the mountain in front of them. Soryong stated, "West," and instructed, "You should try searching on the rocky mountain to the west. Centipedes usually rest under rocks that have been warmed by the sun during the day and only come out at night." As night fell, the moonlight illuminated the steep cliff. On the cliff, people divided into groups to search. At the peak of the mountain, Tang Kielsan stood firm, observing. He frowned, deep in thought. At this time, someone ran up and called, "Master, is it possible that the young master's words were wrong?" He pondered, "Is that so?" Jumping down to the ground, Tang Kielsan ordered, "We'll rest here today. Fire a signal rocket to call the search teams to gather." The soldiers received the order, "Yes, sir." The signal rocket was fired, shining brightly in the sky. Everyone rested and lamented, "Oh, I'm so tired. I hope the young master's words are correct." They discussed among themselves, "Why can't we find that damn centipede?" That's right. That young master seemed quite intelligent. Suddenly, they heard a commotion near Tang Kielsan. They saw him clenching his teeth, trembling, and saying, "Tang Huayin, that child is considered the most outstanding genius in the history of the Tang sect. Has heaven truly abandoned me?" Just then, a voice shouted, "The Grand Master has returned." Everyone greeted him in unison, "You've returned?" Tang Muzong approached Tang Kielsan. The old man inquired about the situation. "Didn't find anything today either." He replied, "No, father. Then he asked, did you fell too, father? Tang Muzong coughed lightly, yeah, and the situation isn't very optimistic. Tang Huayin can only hold on for a maximum of 3 more months. I don't know if we can find it within the next 10 days or not. The two fell silent, sharing the same concern. He suggested, father, how about we try searching in the south tomorrow? Since we haven't found any trace yet. The old man sighed, agreeing, all right. Suddenly, Tang Muzong asked in surprise, nothing. Then, unexpectedly, he slapped his forehead and laughed loudly, that's right. I see. Why didn't I realize that? That's right, it's this place. Seeing a glimmer of hope, Tang Kielsan asked, it seems you've just discovered something, haven't you, father? But unexpectedly, Tang Muzong replied, not as you say. I didn't see any trace or feel anything, he asked, confused, right? The old man confirmed, because there's nothing. Then he added, that's precisely why I have a feeling it's here. Looking around, Tang Muzong spoke, in the past 3 days, have you found any traces on this rocky mountain? Tang Kielsan replied, no, sir. We haven't found any trace. He stroked his chin, saying, animal droppings or territorial markings. No trace was found. Just as he finished speaking, he startled, exclaiming, could it be? Seeing that Tang Kielsan had realized the issue, the old man was excited, that's right. How could there be no trace of animals on this vast rocky mountain? He clenched his fist, muttering, this is its territory. Tang Muzong happily responded, that's right, so all the surrounding animals have either fled or become prey for the centipede. He patted Tang Kielsan on the shoulder and reassured him, the blue spot centipede is definitely here. Now we can save Huayin. He, as if finding light, bit his lip and said, finally. Before he could finish his sentence, the ground shook violently. Everyone panicked and screamed, what's this? Someone shouted, what is this, after all? Someone, out of fear, stepped on the fire without realizing it. At the location of the burning campfire, a huge explosion occurred, shaking the heavens. Tang Muzong and Tang Kielsan were stunned and shouted, what's that? A sharp pincer appeared, striking the ground hard. The soldiers were terrified, stammering, that. Debris was falling down on them. The old man turned pale and shouted, that's. Before them, a body with many legs gradually appeared. And the head also emerged. A giant centipede appeared, the blue spot centipede. The world-shaking noise that woke Soryong up in the middle of the night. Hearing the panicked sounds, Soryong was listless. It's all chaos, he lay sprawled, wondering, how big is that centipede to make everyone so panicked? They said they were just searching, but they've overturned the whole mountain. Soryong smirked, a centipede large enough to swallow me whole. This guy is excited. I'm really curious. Another quiet night in the remote mountains, no different from yesterday, began again. The exhausted warriors of the Tang family were lying on the ground, beside the corpse of a centipede that has been destroyed. Tang Muzong opened a box and said, this is the inner core of the blue spot centipede. Everyone around was sobbing, and the old man, hiding his emotions, coughed and said, now we can save Huayin. Tang Kielsan, his body battered, approached and said, father, please lead the uninjured warriors to Sichuan first. Tang Muzong was puzzled, what do you mean by that? He looked into the distance and replied, kindness must be repaid, and grudges must be avenged. Grudges are carved in blood, kindness is carved in stone. Tang Kielsan asked, isn't there still work to be done here? The old man slapped his head, realizing, I almost made a big mistake because I was so focused on Huayin. Tang Muzong put away the box containing the inner core and said, that's right, we should treat that young hero as an honored guest. If there's anything that young hero desires, we should grant it. He replied, yes. Let the injured warriors stay in the village to recuperate. In the meantime, let me go meet that young hero. Tang Kielsan added, perhaps that young hero also, I think that the young hero must also be eager to hear news from us. Soryong, looking glum, crawled around. Around him were several strange creatures. Ignoring them clinging to him, he said, what should I do with this? In just one night, I've become the father of the blue spot centipede. In some room, Soryong muttered. When I got home, I cleaned the egg and put it right next to my pillow. When I woke up in the morning, I suddenly saw. He looked at the little ones crawling on him, saying, "My little darlings have all hatched. Seeing them round and with ears like rabbits, incredibly cute." Sacheon, restraining his emotions, muttered, "I had anticipated this, but I didn't expect them to hatch so quickly." He glanced at a baby clinging to his cheek, sleeping. Suddenly, the little one fell. He panicked, catching it, saying, "Hey, you guys, stay back a bit, okay?" Sacheon muttered, "The problem is, I don't know if these little guys see me as their mother or not." One of them kept biting his clothes, saying, "They just cling to me and won't leave me alone for a second." The night before, I slung the jar on my back and quickly headed towards the Rocky Mountains in the west. From afar, a part of the mountainside looked like it had been hit by a bomb. Honestly, I was skeptical about it being large enough to eat a person. This divine insect is large enough to swallow me. If I can't endure this, then I'm not the fabric streamer anymore. So, I thoroughly searched the area around where I found the leg and the dug-up ground. At the secret hiding place of the blue spot centipede that I found, the closer I got to the cave, the more terrifying it became. My voice, and the torchlight startled something fist-sized, which began to fall helplessly from above my head. I frantically swung the torch, slamming those creatures onto the ground, revealing long antennae and curved backs. He kicked something, yelling, "What the hell is this? What kind of beetle is as big as a human fist?" The torch in Sacheon's hand fell on the beetle. On one side, he knelt on the ground, on the other, he was panting heavily. Sacheon wiped the sweat from his brow, saying, "Thank goodness." He looked into his bag and said, "Anyway, there are still 3 eggs safe." Sacheon rubbed his head, muttering, "Luckily, the rain stopped. I almost couldn't save any." Then, suddenly, he realized something. Sacheon jumped up, saying, "It's not the time to hesitate, I have to go back quickly and clean the eggs." He tied the bag of eggs tightly to his waist, saying, "All right." With an excited face, Sacheon shouted, "My little centipedes, wait a moment. Big brother will wash you clean right away," and after that, the eggs hatched. He sat and sighed, "Even though I haven't seen a live blue spot centipede, saving these eggs is already very lucky." The adorable babies kept clinging to Sacheon, making him feel a bit restricted. Sacheon said, "Hey, you guys, aren't you going to leave me alone?" The mischievous little ones crawled down his back, muttering, "Even though I know that until your second molting you don't need to eat, so I don't need to worry about food, but clinging to me like this is really troublesome." Sacheon suddenly realized, saying, "If I go into the water, maybe you'll automatically leave me." A sly smile appeared on his face, a mischievous look that frightened the baby centipedes. He said, "Then I have to take a bath." Early in the morning, Tang Cheol-san arrived at the abandoned conduit and called out towards the inner part of the dilapidated hall where the young hero was staying. "Young hero, are you in there?" However, the hall remained silent with no response. He called out several times more, but there was still no answer from the young hero. Tang Cheol-san pondered for a long time at the entrance of the hall. Is he not here? Or perhaps, did he catch a cold from the rain in the last few days? So he reached out to the door. He pushed the door open and entered, saying, "Young hero, I'm coming in." As he stepped into the hall, he was greeted by an odd interior. Tang Cheol-san said, "Herbs, various jars, and even medicine boxes." He looked at the herbs, wondering, could this young hero be skilled in medicine? Tang Cheol-san sighed, muttering, "I shouldn't just enter an empty room like this. Isn't that disrespectful?" Looking around, he saw no one. He turned to leave, saying, "I'll come back later." Tang Cheol-san was about to close the door when he heard strange sounds. He turned around curiously, muttering, "This sound is..." Suddenly, odd noises came from within the jars and medicine chests. Curious about the familiar sounds, Tang Cheol-san, forgetting it was impolite, stepped further into the young hero's dwelling and opened the lid of a jar. Tang Cheol-san opened the lid of a jar. His face was astonished, exclaiming, "What is this?" Tang Cheol-san's eyes widened in shock. Tang Cheol-san saw a spider holding something white in its mouth, then, with an expression of disbelief, he checked the other jars and medicine chests. He looked at the medicine cabinet, saying, "No way." Tang Kiel-san immediately went over and opened a drawer. Seeing a creature with orange stripes, muttering, "Lizard." He couldn't help but be surprised by what he had just seen. In this jar were some brown bugs. And that pot contained strange eggs. In this box were the dried carcasses of snakes. Tang Kiel-san was stunned into immobility, muttering, "A lizard species like." He was entering a place with all sorts of terrifying poisonous creatures. It was truly unbelievable. Inside Tang Kiel-san's head, he thought, could he be raising these poisonous creatures and letting them breed? Even the famous Tang family, skilled in poisons and venomous creatures, only goes as far as managing and extracting toxins. They wouldn't be able to find a way to collect eggs and breed them like this. He closed the door, stepped out of the room, and muttered, "It was only through a small twist of fate that I was able to save the life of my beloved daughter." Tang Kiel-san clenched his fist and said, "So the real twist of fate is this young hero?" The secret method the young hero had for raising venomous creatures. With that ability, he thought he might elevate the Tang family's poison skills to a higher level. As he was organizing his thoughts on what to ask when the young hero returned, he heard a voice. Elder." He replied, "Young hero." Sacheon hurried over, saying, "How did your arm get like that? Are you injured anywhere else?" Tang Kiel-san placed his hand on the boy's shoulder and replied, "It's nothing serious. Rather, what I should say is..." Suddenly, he sensed something and muttered, What is this?" Behind the boy, a sinister aura appeared. The door was broken, and a figure slowly emerged. A monster filled with killing intent, its face terrifying. He laughed, revealing sharp teeth. Tang Kiel-san quickly pushed Sacheon aside, shouting, "Young hero, get out of here." He didn't understand what was happening, saying, "Sir." The figure stood ready, preparing to attack. Tak Wonyang flicked his wrist, wherever he passed was destroyed as he flew straight towards Tang Kiel-san. He channeled force into his arm, throwing a powerful blow at the old man. Blocking Tak Wonyang's attack caused Tang Kiel-san to be severely injured, coughing up blood. His palm strike made everything explode. Tang Kiel-san fell to his knees. He wiped the blood from his mouth and muttered, "A master on par with my father." Tang Kiel-san stammered, young hero, run." Just as he finished speaking, Sacheon was grabbed by the neck and lifted high by the figure. He was choking, gasping out, "Es sir." Tak Wonyang, meanwhile, laughed triumphantly. He laughed, saying, "I heard that the wretched Tang clan had entered Hainan, so I came to take a look, but the venomous god monarch snake is injured and alone like this." Tang Kiel-san struggled to stand, coughed a few times, and asked, "Who are you, sir? Why are you bullying that young hero and me?" Tak Wonyang laughed loudly and replied, "You'll know if you look at this face and this red hand. Your father made me like this. I am the blood hand Rakshasa, Tak Wonyang. About 10 years ago, he was a notorious villain active around the regions of Guizhou and Guangxi. He was caught by Tang Chiol-san's father, the man of 10,000 poisons, in Qinzhou and hit in the head with a poison jar, falling off a cliff into the sea. It seemed he had survived and had been hiding in Hainan Island. Back then, he was said to be at a similar level to Tang Chiol-san, but now his inner chi felt terrifyingly strong. Tang Kiel-san, seeing Sacheon struggling in Tak Wonyang's grasp, shouted, "That young hero has nothing to do with us, let him go." He said, "Then I'll trade my life for that kid's." Holding him by the neck, Wonyang said smugly, "I don't like it. You touched me, even a little will cause death. Demon, you possess high martial arts and harm the world." Tang Kiel-san gritted his teeth in anger, muttering, "That demon, it seems he have no intention of releasing the young hero." Meanwhile, Sacheon was being choked to the point where he could barely endure it. Tak Wonyang laughed loudly and said, "Die." He gasped out with difficulty, "Please, save me." Sacheon's appearance of being about to pass away made eyes light up in the darkness. The little blue spot centipede from inside him rushed out, clinging to the figure's arm. They bit Tak Wonyang repeatedly. He was horrified. "What? Centipedes?" Tak Wonyang quickly released Sacheon, taking his hand and trying to remove the centipedes, yelling, "Anyway, centipedes seem capable of harming me." Tak Wanyang. The little ones injected poison into him, causing him to cough up blood. Tak Wanyang fell to his knees, shouting, "Damn it." After that, he lay motionless at the boy's feet. Soryong was terrified, muttering, "My God, he's dead." He kicked the body with his foot, saying, "Hey, are you still alive?" Tang Kielsan was stunned, his mouth agape. Then, he laughed as if he'd struck gold. In Tang Chiolsan's mind, the word, guest, slowly transformed into, family member. Soryong switched to poking Tak Wanyang's body with a stick. This person was bad, right? He seems to be dead. At the Taoist temple, a few days after Tak Wanyang fell, a sigh of relief was heard in the room. Wei Soryong was tending to Tang Kielsan, who was ill in bed. He spoke, "Thank you, young hero." Soryong, hearing him speak, said, "There can be no further delay. If you tell me where your family is, I'll go and take a look." Finishing his sentence, he turned away awkwardly, scratching his chin, pondering, "No, I can't leave you here alone, but I can't call a doctor either." Hearing this, Tang Kielsan quickly said, "I'm fine, don't worry, resting for a few days will fix it." The boy was stunned and thought to himself, "This old man has lost so much blood and still speaks so calmly." He remembered the moment when the old man coughed up a pile of blood while reassuring him, "I'm all right." He immediately retorted, "Please don't say that, your current condition is very critical." Tang Kielsan, taking a breath, weakly replied, "It's all right." He feared the boy would continue to worry about him, so he added, "I'm a martial artist, after all." Soryong was very surprised by this. He questioned, "Martial artist?" He asked enthusiastically, "Do you mean Wulin, those who can fly and jump, and use palm techniques?" He smiled gently and replied, "Not everyone can do that, but you could say that's right." The boy thought in amazement, "Amazing, it's true that the world here is different. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense to have a centipede as big as a house." Tang Kielsan's voice cut off the boy's train of thought. "Anyway, thanks to young hero, I kept my life. It is truly a great debt of life-saving. Although it's a bit rude, allow me to formally introduce myself." He introduced himself, "I am Tang Kielsan, head of the Tang clan of Sichuan." He also introduced himself, "I am Wei Soryong." He closed his eyes and praised, "Soryong, meaning little dragon, a good name." He looked at the boy and asked, "Furthermore, I have many things I want to ask, if I may." He politely replied, "Yes, please ask." He voiced his question, "The poisonous creature you carry with you is a centipede, right?" He looked down at the centipede larvae clinging to his body, then gently poked it, and then confirmed, "Yes, it's a centipede, the larvae of the blue spot centipede." Tang Kielsan was so surprised that he sat up straight, exclaiming, "You say you have tamed the larvae of the blue spot centipede?" He was startled by him, also shouting, "Old sir, please lie down first." He didn't care about his advice and continued to speak, "Where? How did you tame it?" He vaguely replied, "While waiting for you, I saw." He suddenly cut the boy off, "Are these poisonous insects also raised by you?" He hesitated, continuing, "That is." He spoke a little embarrassedly, "Maybe the story will be a bit long. Do you want to hear it?" He covered his mouth, clearing his throat, "It's all right, go ahead." He started to tell, "Then I'll start with the eggs of the blue spot centipede. It's like this." The night outside the Taoist temple was quiet and peaceful, as if listening to the story that Soryong was telling. After hearing the whole story, Tang Kielsan asked in astonishment, "Wait, you mean you took the eggs yourself and raised them?" He replied, "Yes, that's right. I can estimate the day the eggs will hatch." He thought, covered in sweat, who could possibly know the day the eggs will hatch? How? He spoke up, "Please wait a moment, old sir." Finishing his words, Soryong unlocked the cabinet, took out the creatures inside, and suggested, "Here, do you want to see this?" He took out one and introduced. "This is a common lizard from caves. It has yellow stripes on its body and white stripes on its tail." He took out another one and described, "And this one, the ones with large white stripes on the tail are selected for breeding, and the result is only these two distinctive colors." Tang Kielsan stared at the creatures in front of him, stunned, and exclaimed, "Could it be?" He shouted, "I heard that you created this color." He excitedly confirmed, "That's right, isn't it beautiful?" He gulped, questioning. "Then, if you only breed those with strong poison, can you create a species with even stronger poison?" He let out a soft, "Ha," puzzled by his words. In his head, he was frantically thinking, theoretically, it's possible. After thinking, he said, "If you know which one's poison is stronger, then of course it's possible." Then he hesitated, "That is difficult." He suddenly exclaimed, "What? Even so, it's possible?" Making him jump. He put his hand on his shoulder, seriously suggesting, "Join my clan." He was surprised, letting out a "huh." He shouted again, "If you join our Tang clan of Sichuan, every secret martial art technique will be passed on without reservation. Rare medicinal herbs, spirit herbs, and any kind of poison you want will be within your reach." He vigorously persuaded, "If it's you, you might be able to catch or raise one of the 10 great venomous creatures of the Central Plains that the martial world talks about." If this still wasn't enough to sway him, Tang Kielsan used his ultimate move, not to brag, but one of the 3 treasures of the Central Plains is my daughter. Sacheon quickly stopped him. "Wait," he asked, "what did you just say?" He was also surprised for a second, said, "Huh," then as if he had seen the light, and laughed loudly. "You are young but you're still a man, so, all right. My daughter, one of the 3 treasures of the Central Plains." Seeing that he misunderstood, he shouted, "No, no. It's not like giving conditions like that." He imagined the 10 great venomous creatures the old man mentioned and clenched his fists tightly, asking loudly, "Are the 10 great venomous creatures of the Central Plains also as formidable as the blue spot centipede?" He affirmed firmly, "That's right. Of course, they are." He smirked smugly, "The blue spot centipede is also very powerful, but it's still a low-level poisonous species, incomparable to the 10 great venomous creatures of the Central Plains." He described, from a centipede as big as a house to a golden centipede shining like gold. He was constantly amazed, imagining along with his words. But he said, "No matter what you think, the reality will be even further beyond that." Tang Kielsan sighed softly. He observed Sacheon's bright, excited face and the 2 larvae crawling in his clothes and concluded, "It seems I've been successful in persuading him." 2 days later, at the Taoist temple, Tang Kielsan's disciples heard the news and shouted loudly, "I heard that the blood hand Rakshasa, Takwanyang, has appeared." Tang Kielsan said, "Indeed, we almost got into big trouble. I didn't expect him to be in seclusion, practicing martial arts, and now he has reached a realm almost equal to my father's." The disciples stammered in fear, that. A disciple suddenly thought of something, suddenly speaking up, "Huh. Wait." He asked, "Did the master kill him? Have you perhaps reached the realm of 10,000 poisons?" One disciple immediately said, "Congratulations." Another also quickly spoke up, "Oh, congratulations, master." He sighed and denied, "That's not it." He continued, "The one who killed him was not me, but this young hero here." The disciple exclaimed in surprise, This young hero?" Then he turned and clenched Sacheon's hand, shouting in confirmation, "Young hero, is it you?" The disciples hurriedly said, "Thank you, young hero, for saving the life of our master, the head of the Tang family of Sichuan. Could it be that you are a master who has attained enlightenment and remains eternally young?" He was surprised by their words and asked, "Huh? What? Eternally young, what?" Tang Kielsan calmly interrupted them, "Young hero, there seems to be a slight misunderstanding. Could you show me directly?" He thought for a moment and then agreed, "Babies, come out here." The disciple's eyes widened, looking at what was wriggling and wanting to poke its head out of his clothes. The tiny larvae were chirping and looking at the scene. The disciple, seeing the larvae clearly, exclaimed in surprise, "Oh, aren't those centipedes? They are the larvae of the blue spot centipede. These very ones defeated Takwanyang." One disciple, looking at this scene, suddenly shouted, with a bit of fear, "What? Are their poisons safe?" The other also shouted, but couldn't hide his admiration, "You tamed the blue spot centipede? How can such a young hero have such talent? Tang Kielsan slowly spoke, therefore, I have decided to accept the young hero into our clan. The young hero said that he wanted to think about it a little more. The disciple excitedly shouted, "Oh, young hero! This is truly a good opportunity." Tang Kielsan spoke, and then his voice attracted the group that was constantly excited on the other side. He clenched his fist, seriously speaking, "Perhaps I should get up, it seems I shouldn't delay any longer." Soryong asked, "Elder, do you still want to find something else?" He just pondered silently, not answering him immediately. Then, he seriously spoke, "The blood hand Rakshasa, Tak One Yang, the martial art he practiced is the blood hand poison claw. This is a terrifying evil technique that even uses blood and marrow to enhance its power." He was horrified, thinking, what kind of crazy evil technique is this? He resolutely made a decision: if he left behind a secret manual or has a successor, we must definitely deal with the aftermath. We cannot allow that kind of cruel evil technique to reappear in the martial world. He clenched his fist. And if someone was captured, shouldn't we help them? The group of disciples agreed, "Of course, master." He turned to him and asked, "Young hero, can you lend me a hand? After all, you are familiar with the geography of Hainan Island." Soryong remained silent, seemingly lost in thought. The larvae moved closer to him, chirping. He closed his eyes, thinking, perhaps becoming a member of the Tang family also means a lifelong job. Usually, when doing an internship, it's to observe the company atmosphere and, conveniently, also examine the boss's personality, right? He happily agreed, "I understand, when you recover your health, I will do my best to assist you." The disciple, hearing this, let out a whoop. Tang Kielsan praised, "Young hero, you're thinking straight." He smiled brightly, "It's about saving people, of course, I have to help." Outwardly he was modest, but inwardly, he thought, on this trip, I must thoroughly investigate what kind of place the Tang clan of Sichuan really is. He added a smug thought in his mind, a good person will usually reverse interview, after all. 3 days had passed since the old master Tang Shan had recovered his body. Their group, including Tang Kielsan, Wei Soryong, and the disciples, because they wanted to find the hiding place of the blood hand Rakshasa Tak One Yang, stopped by the village near the abandoned Taoist temple. They inquired if anyone was missing. The villagers being questioned were a little worried, and said, "You're talking about missing people?" The old man recalled and then recounted, "In the past year, there were 1 or 2 people who went missing in the forest, however there haven't been cases of regular disappearances." Tang Kielsan stroked his beard in thought. The group clasped their hands in thanks. Tang Kielsan, speaking on their behalf, said, "Thank you for speaking, village chief." The old man also clasped his hands, cordially responding, "It's nothing, it's my honor to be of help to the renowned head of the Sichuan Tang family." He said, "Then we'll take our leave." The village chief said, following them, "I hope you have a safe journey." Unfortunately, the group did not obtain any further information. They continued on their way. Soryong wondered, is there nothing unusual about this village? Tang Kielsan pondered. He had something in mind. Then replied, looking at the fact that he discovered us and revealed himself, I thought for sure he'd be around here. The search is really not easy. He also thought, it is indeed strange, how could there be no trace left at all? Soryong, recalling the time when Tak One Yang attacked him, also wondered, what did he say? Then, as if thinking of some issue, he let out an ah. He spoke up, Elder, do you remember what he said when he appeared? Tang Kielsan turned and replied, I don't remember much, how about you? He then remembered that moment, thinking to himself, ah, I was hit by a technique and flew away. He continued, yeah, so you analyzed that he said the Tang family members had entered Hainan Island, right? The elder questioned, is that so? He continued analyzing, in other words, it means that someone knew that the Tang family members had entered Hainan Island and informed, right? The elder replied, perhaps. Soryong cheerfully offered his solution, then it's simple, we just need to verify if the Tang family passed through Hainan Island. Based on their appearance, no, if we use portrait descriptions to inquire, we will find them. The elder and the group of disciples looked at him in disbelief. Before the disciples' joy, Tang Kiel-san suddenly exclaimed, "Oh, I didn't think of that, that's brilliant." If Blood Hand Rakshasa said so, he must have heard the news from someone who saw us. While he was a little embarrassed by the praise, the elder decided, then it's easy, let's move immediately. They moved to a village, but this place was shrouded in a heavy, gloomy atmosphere. The group gradually entered the village. The disciple spoke up. "Patriarch, according to what we heard, on Hainan Island, it's probably that village." Tang Kiel-san assessed, "It seems to be the village where the women live," he ordered. "Let's go and see." According to the young hero, "Perhaps the women here won't be too hostile to us." The disciples responded in unison, "Yes, Patriarch." In the village, the people were extremely dejected, many were dazed. And some were even lying in front of their houses. A villager was sitting quietly, working. They called out, "Is anyone here?" attracting the attention of the villagers. When the villagers turned to look, they saw that their group had entered the village. The villagers asked, "Han people, what brings you to the village of women?" He was a little surprised to see the village chief also leading a little girl and two young men in the village. Tang Kiel-san and the disciples clasped their hands in greeting. He said, "I am the head of the Tang family in Sichuan, my name is Tang Sun. The reason we came here is..." While everyone was talking, Sacheon quietly observed his surroundings. He thought to himself, this village really lacks vitality, the children also look like they have no energy. He suddenly thought of something and thought, wait a minute. He questioned in his heart, what's the condition of these people? He looked around at the dejected villagers. He pondered, could they all be drugged? The village chief said, "I don't know about any disappearances. I'm fine." He changed his expression and said, "Go back." Tang Kiel-san still tried to communicate, but it seems there are fewer people in the house. The old man shouted, "This is not something you Han people need to worry about. Go back." Both Tang Kiel-san and Sacheon were extremely surprised by that attitude. Tang Kiel-san turned and whispered, "Young hero, I clearly heard that the people here are very friendly to Han people." He didn't understand either, replying, "Yeah." So the child that the village chief was holding fell down. The old village chief shouted in panic, "Ma-chan." He thought, fell down. The old man was so panicked that he burst into tears. "Oh my God, Ma-chan, no. You're the only relative I have left." The old man said painfully, "Why have you also contracted this strange disease?" Tang Kiel-san knelt down on one knee in front of the old man and offered, "Sir, I know a little bit of medicine, may I be of assistance?" The old man asked back, Medicine from the Central Plains?" He replied, "Yes, although I am not a doctor, I have some knowledge of medicine. May I examine the child's condition?" The old man hurriedly agreed, "I rely on you." The old man said, "Actually." The old village chief began to tell, "Some time ago, a strange epidemic began to appear in the village, the children gradually died, and the adults also became weak." Tang Kiel-san put his hand on the old man's shoulder to comfort him. "I see, let me take a look." The old man blurted out, thank you very much." The old man said to them, "Please come inside quickly." Then he shouted to the villagers, "What are you waiting for? Quickly bring the doctor and the group inside." The group hurried inside. Sacheon, while running, asked the disciple, "Senior, you also know medicine?" He replied, "Ah, yes." He explained, "The martial arts of our Tang family are related to handling poisons, so we are also very knowledgeable about pharmacology. Moreover, martial arts start with understanding the body, so we also need to have some knowledge of medicine." He thought in surprise, "I thought they were just a group of assassins specializing in poison. If I join the Tang family of Sichuan, besides learning the terrifying unique poison martial arts, learning some medicine wouldn't be bad either." The disciple, with a bit of malice, continued, "Ah, of course, sometimes we catch bad guys and inject them with poison to see the reaction, there are times." He was immediately horrified, asking himself, experiments on human bodies? He associated Tang Kiel-san and the disciples with being evil, cruel people, and shuddered, whispering to himself, "That's a bit, indeed, they are very scary people." The sky was still gloomy. The first rays of sunlight of the day shone on a house. Ma-chan was lying still, but her whole body was emitting a green vapor, and she was uncomfortably closing her eyes tightly. Tang Kyo-san briefly explained to the old village chief. First, I have transmitted inner chi into her body to prevent her breathing from stopping. The old man replied, oh, thank you. The old man stroked Ma Chan's head and said sadly, this is my only remaining granddaughter, please save her. Tang Kyo-san said, by the way. He asked, the pulse is unstable, it's very strange. Was the child's heart weak from birth? The old man replied, it's just that the illness started to get worse half a year ago. Not only my granddaughter, but many others also started to get sick and weak. The old man said, we call it a strange disease. The reason I told you to go back right from the gate was because of that. Soryong understood and exclaimed, I see. Tang Kyo-san requested, sir, first I will prescribe a medicine that is good for the cardiovascular system. Could I trouble you to gather everyone in the village for me? To try using the medicine. The old man was moved to tears. Thank you. The old man thanked him again, I am very grateful. Soryong silently observed Tang Kyo-san, who was smiling kindly. As dusk fell, a disciple gently called out, Patriarch. The disciple said, you have worked hard to examine everyone. Tang Kyo-san replied, thank you, Tang Kyo-san. He inquired, how is the condition of the patients? He pondered and then said, this matter is indeed very strange. He analyzed, symptoms of weakness and swelling of the eyes, unstable pulse accompanied by a slight fever. The symptoms are all different, but those who are seriously ill have problems with their hearts. He suddenly remembered and asked, by the way, how about the young hero? Tang Kyo-san reported, the young hero seems tired after helping everyone, so he fell asleep. I have laid him down to rest in the room. He thought of the scene of his disciples carrying him to rest. The disciple exclaimed, the young hero has tried his best. He immediately said, a body that hasn't practiced martial arts and followed us is bound to be easily tired. He spoke, by the way, I should also visit to see how the young hero's complexion is. Tang Kyo-san replied, let me lead the way, Patriarch. The door of the room gently opened. Inside Soryong was sleeping soundly, unaware of anything. Tang Kyo-san did not enter but only quietly observed from outside. He suddenly pushed the door open, quickly stepped to the bedside, and swung his hand towards him. His hand came down as fast as lightning and accurately slapped him, making him scream out in pain. Soryong woke up startled, not understanding what was happening, staring at him. He exclaimed, Senior. While looking at him very angrily. Seeing his expression, he wondered. Why was I suddenly punched by Tang Kyo-san, making Soryong stunned? He sat up, holding his newly slapped cheek. Soryong said, this. He covered his face and huddled against the wall, wondering, what's going on, Senior? Oh my God, it hurts. He quickly crawled over, extending his hand, and said, I'm sorry, I was just trying to catch the bug crawling on your cheek. Soryong was stunned, asking, what? Bug? Tang Kyo-san stammered, you listen to me first. He looked through the crack in the door and said, I was just going to check on the young hero before resting, when suddenly Tang Kyo-san saw a bug. Bug? Well, you know, suddenly a bug flew over and landed on your face. You know. He then raised his hand, his eyes sharp, and said, on Hainan Island, there are many types of poisonous insects that I don't know about, so it's quite dangerous. So I instinctively swatted. Tang Kyo-san showed the squashed bug on his hand, saying, look, see, this big bug. Soryong looked at the bug on his hand, stunned. Suddenly, he exclaimed, this. Soryong muttered, wait a minute, why is this bug here? This type is agile and elusive, even sucking blood faster than mosquitoes, so it is also called the vampire bug or assassin bug. Soryong wiped the spot where the bug landed with a cloth, saying, this bug itself is not poisonous, but its stomach is full of harmful parasites. He continued, therefore, when bitten by it, people will be infected with the disease through its excrement. Chagas disease, also known as Chagas disease, is the disease it causes. It is a dangerous type, ranking 7th in the list of species that cause the most deaths in humans. Soryong told the village chief, are the dogs in the village short of breath or have symptoms similar to humans? The village chief replied in panic, that's right. Could it be because of this bug? He sighed and replied, yes, it probably is, for sure. He was stunned. The village chief wondered, then can my granddaughter be saved? Sacheon answered, that, if there is medicine, it is still possible, but... Tang Kiel-san laughed loudly. He laughed smugly and asked, Tang Kiel-san, how do you think I see people? Tang Kiel-san smiled and replied, indeed, I have clearly seen the value of the young hero, he not understanding what was going on, muttering, why are these guys like this? Sacheon was stunned and replied, huh. Tang Kiel-san confidently said, I mean, join our Tang family of Sichuan. He froze, muttering, why? He said, there is a type called gu insects, it is what is called witchcraft. This type of insect is raised by evil people in China. Tang Kiel-san continued, those evil people make people swallow this type of insect, periodically causing pain or using it to control people according to their will. Sacheon replied in amazement, control people. That's terrible. Tang Kiel-san said, although it is powerful, many people in the martial world have lost their lives because of that goo, he said. People sometimes kill their own children and then commit suicide, or betray their families and clans to become slaves to those evil people. The village chief stood by, listening, and cried out in anguish, oh my God, Ma-chan. Tang Kiel-san explained, so for a long time, people in the martial world have been trying to create an antidote for that type of goo. An antidote that makes that goo leave the body or dissolve it. Sacheon exclaimed in surprise, no way. Tang Kiel-san suddenly pulled something out of his clothes, shouting loudly, all right. If the martial world created such an antidote, where would they do it? He took out a round pill, proudly saying, of course, it's our Tang family of Sichuan. We have a medicine that can dissolve a lump the size of a fist in the body, so what are those tiny microorganisms? Tang Kiel-san presented a large, shiny pill, saying, Wu gu rong hua dan, just a little bit of this pill is enough. He gaped in awe, Wu gu rong hua dan. Sacheon muttered, the name of the parasite-killing drug sounds really badass. Seeing the village chief with tears in his eyes, he said, so, don't worry, old sir. Tang Kiel-san said, your granddaughter can be saved. As a result, starting with the village chief's granddaughter, the villagers gradually recovered their health. The village chief hugged his granddaughter, joyfully shouting, oh, Ma-chan. Thank goodness, it's so fortunate. The warm welcome from the villagers was an added reward. Looking at their bright faces, it seemed that the information about the optimistic nature of the female clan was correct. Tang Kiel-san patted him on the shoulder and said, if the young hero hadn't found the cause, it would have been very difficult. So their benefactor is not me, but this young hero. The young men in the village chorused, thank you, young hero. Thank you very much, young hero. Sacheon shyly replied, that. Everyone around shouted, the young hero is the benefactor of our village. Although they were treated with the Tang family's medicine, Mr. Tang Kiel-san gave all the credit to me. Seeing me appreciated by everyone. Seeing him happy as if it were his own doing. For a moment, it was really touching. The young men in the village surrounded him and tossed him into the air in celebration. Some time later, the village chief came close to Tang Kiel-san and said, that, it's what you said at the village gate. He wondered, what is that? The old man said, everyone is looking for the village where people have gone missing. Tang Kiel-san replied, that's right, but why do you ask? The village chief looked worried and said, I wanted to repay the kindness, so I inquired a little and heard a strange story. Everyone listened in silence. The old man said, in our village, there is a girl who married from another village. Her parents' village, a few years ago, experienced a strange phenomenon. People in the village gradually disappeared, one by one. Tang Kiel-san was extremely shocked when he heard this. He looked around and muttered, there's a clue. Tang Kiel-san asked, so where is that place? The village chief replied, well, to the west, there is a small village. When they arrived, they only saw a desolate scene. Tang Kiel-san covered his nose with his hand and said, corpses. The attendant next to him said, it seems to be that place, manor lord. He seemed to see something very terrifying, exclaiming, what is this? Piles of corpses, including skeletons. Tang Kiel-san said, his spine chilling, there's even corpse poison. Corpse poison, the poison that develops after a body decomposes. The one with eyebrow dots shouted, his spine chilling, don't let the young hero see this scene. Sacheon said, I've already seen everything. Suddenly, the young man noticed something, wondering, what's that over there? Sharp claws. A beak gripping the severed head of a snake. A bird with strange plumage was swallowing the snake's head. The young man muttered, bird. He immediately picked up a rock from the ground and said, no, that bird, we can't let the deceased be further desecrated. The young man threw the rock forcefully towards it, shouting, get out of here. Tang Kielsen shouted, hey, wait. The rock flew past, startling the bird. It stomped its claws hard on the ground. Its eyes full of killing intent, in a posture ready to attack. He angrily shouted, no. That damn thing. He patted his shoulder to reassure him, saying, stop. Something's not right. The bird extended its large wings, flapping them powerfully and flying into the sky with a surge of killing intent. Sacheon saw that scene, terrified. The skeletons touched by the black smoke were melting. He muttered, no way, it's melting. A hand covered his mouth. Tang Kielsen shouted, everyone, get away. That's a Jin bird. Everyone sat down in a circle. Tang Kielsen explained. When its wings are spread, they can reach up to 5 zhang. Its beak is the color of bright copper and as sharp as a knife. Its body is covered with dark purple feathers. The two attendants listened with serious expressions. He said, when it gets angry and spreads its wings, everything around it is stained black and dies, turning into poison. Tang Kielsen continued, on its head, it wears a golden crown, its wings exude an aura of majesty worthy of a king. People call this type Jin, or Jin bird. Sacheon said, could it be? He excitedly shouted, was that just now one of the 10 great venomous creatures? He nodded. Sacheon's eyes lit up, excitedly saying, that is the one at the top of the 10 great venomous creatures, hailed as the emperor of all animals, the Jin bird. Emperor of the 10 great venomous creatures. He muttered, so terrifying, so powerful. Compared to it, poisonous insects and snakes on earth just look cute. Sacheon was overjoyed to see the Jin bird, saying, this place is truly a flying biological weapon. Tang Kielsen said, it seems to have been lured by the flock of snakes we brought and automatically flew here. The 3 others whispered, I heard that the Jin bird only eats the heads of snakes with the strongest toxins. He worriedly asked, is that an omen? He replied, certainly. In a lifetime, it's not easy to see a Jin bird with your own eyes. The Jin bird is so rare that it's been 100 years since anyone last saw one. Sacheon was impressed. Tang Kielsen wondered, what's wrong, young hero? Are you planning to catch it, causing the group to be surprised? He laughed loudly, want to try catching it, young hero? He replied, all right, but with its toxicity like that. Tang Kielsen just smiled at him. Then suddenly he said, this kid, you seem very interested in the 10 great venomous creatures. If so, there is a way. Sacheon was surprised, saying, there's really a way. Tang Kielsen said, if you master the poison techniques of the Tang family, your body will become immune to all poisons, able to withstand even the poison of the Jin bird. He added, in this world, only the martial arts of our Tang family can block that kind of poison. Tang Kielsen pointed to his face and said, but what can I do? Because our Tang family does not teach the family's secret techniques to outsiders, he continued, even though I want to help the young hero very much, in my position as patriarch, I cannot break the family rules. Sacheon eagerly shouted, if this junior becomes a member of the Tang family, will I be able to learn? And if I reach the realm of 100 poisons immunity, can I really withstand the poison of the Jin bird? Tang Kielsen confidently said, of course. If the young hero decides decisively now, I will not hesitate to teach you everything. Of course, the initiation ceremony will also be thorough. Looking at the faces of the others, no one could believe his words, only Sacheon believed him. He smiled slyly and said, but, if the young hero hesitates for too long, I will also have to think carefully, right? His blood surged with enthusiasm, turning his face red. Sacheon firmly said, I agree to become a member of the Tang family, I hope to be instructed by you. Elder Senior, ah no, Patriarch, Tang Kiel-san laughed loudly, is that so? Very good. He patted his shoulder and said, from now on, you are forever a member of the Tang family. The residents of Blood Hand Rakshasa. Footprints next to poison. Suddenly, someone called, Patriarch. He handed over a book and said, it was deep inside the cave. Tang Kiel-san held it in his hand, opening each page, and said, these words written in blood, it's truly the secret manual of the Blood Hand Poison ancestor. Sacheon was astonished, saying, written in blood? He put away the secret manual and said, let's go back. He wondered, are you going to Sichuan? Tang Kiel-san replied, we have to. We've obtained the inner core of the Qing centipede and the secret manual. Sacheon remembered the poisonous creatures he raised and asked, so, can we stop by the Taoist temple for a bit? I want to release my friends, he replied, sure, I'll also prepare your travel gear. Tang Kiel-san turned and said, then let's depart. Sacheon kept looking back. Suddenly, he noticed something. Sacheon pointed to the cave and said, there's something there. Everyone gathered, crouching down to look. The short-haired one asked, this? Everyone shouted, this is a feather of the Zhen bird. Everyone looked towards the feather emitting a purple light. Tang Kiel-san put on gloves and picked up the feather to examine it. He opened a box to put it in and said, consider this a gift to celebrate you becoming a member of the Tang family. You seem very interested in it. Sacheon excitedly said, thank you. Elder Senior, no, Patriarch. Tang Kiel-san turned back, smiled and said, everything is fine. It's just that I don't like this way of addressing me very much. He said, how about after the bonding ceremony, we change the way we address each other to be more appropriate. He was surprised, muttering, ceremony? Like an initiation ceremony? At the same time, at the Tang family of Sichuan. Tang Muzong was injured, a member of the Tang family supported him, saying, Grand Patriarch. The Grand Patriarch, Tang Muzong, who had set out earlier, had finally arrived. He shouted, quick! How is Huayin? The subordinate supporting Tang Muzong replied, yes, she is still alive, he said, quickly to Huayin. The door of the room opened. Tang Muzong appeared, shouting, Huayin. Those beside the bed shouted, Grand Patriarch. Madame Tang, with a worried expression, called out, Father. He replied, Daughter-in-law, I have brought the medicine. Tang Muzong took out a pill and said, this is the inner core of the Qing centipede. She covered her mouth with her hand, trying to contain her emotions, and said, You succeeded. Everyone sat down and waited. He gave the medicine to Huayin to drink. Her complexion was very poor, and she was panting. Tang Muzong looked at her with pity and called, Huayin. He held the pill and said, it was almost too late, luckily I hurried in time. Madame Tang said, Father, quickly give the medicine. He slowly fed the pill to Huayin. A stream of green energy emanated from her body. Tang Muzong took her pulse. Then, he circulated his inner qi. She looked at her daughter anxiously and muttered, Wake up soon, Huayin. Sacheon, looking dazed, sat behind and said, I heard that the Central Plains are vast, but I didn't expect them to be this vast. From Hainan, we sailed to Hangzhou, then crossed Nanning, ending a month-and-a-half-long journey. Finally, we have arrived in Sichuan. The Tang family's steward smiled and said, This is the Tang family of Sichuan, young hero. He exclaimed in surprise, This is it. Before him was the vast Tang family. He said, This entire mountain belongs to the Tang family of Sichuan, so this mountain is called Tang Family Mountain. Sacheon could not believe his eyes. People from the Tang family rushed out, shouting loudly, Patriarch, you've returned, welcome back, making him panic, muttering, Are all these people members of the Tang family of Sichuan? Wow, so many. Behind the crowd of men, a girl in red attire also ran out. Her footsteps welcomed his return. Tang Kiel-san was astonished when he heard the two words, Father. His beloved daughter had woken up, crying, and running towards him. Sacheon was instantly captivated by Huayin's beauty. Tang Kielsan joyfully shouted, Huayin. You're well again. She hugged him tightly and said, Father, I'm sorry. Huayin, are you alright? He looked at her and muttered, Oh my God, is this beauty real? In my past life, I've even worked with celebrities, but this. Sacheon looked at that beautiful face and said, This is truly the first time I've seen someone radiating such an aura. He turned and said, I have someone I want to introduce to you. Tang Kielsan said, Sacheon, this is my daughter, Tang Huayin. Sacheon's face went blank. He continued, I remember you said something, the smell of grass, the scent of grass. Huayin heard those words and looked puzzled, grass? Tang Kielsan ruffled her hair and said, Weeds, of course. This startled Huayin, making her blush. The two looked at each other, silent. He remembered what he had said earlier, my daughter, one of the 3 treasures of the Central Plains. Sacheon protested, no, not those weeds. He was a little embarrassed, poison flower. Tang Huayin, the only woman of the Tang family. Ever since she was a child, she had carried a heartache that no one understood. 2 old elders were talking to each other. One said, her talent is still unclear. The other said, isn't her appearance outstanding enough to be called one of the 3 beauties of the martial world? She hid behind a hidden corner, listening to the comments. The one said, just a nominal son-in-law for convenience is enough. The other said, I told you we should take more concubines. I don't understand why the patriarch opposes it. Huayin endured the harsh words, muttering, that's not true. Mother, father is not wrong. Tang Huayin wanted to prove her abilities to the elders in the family, by cultivating and perfecting the family's martial arts. Even though she was not a man, she could still do many things for the family. There is a saying, haste makes waste, impatience only leads to getting lost. That impatience created an inner demon. That inner demon turned into the qi deviation. After she woke up, thanks to the medicine and the help of Tang Muzong, everyone sat around anxiously. Madame Tang joyfully said, you survived, Huayin. Tears streamed down her face. Huayin said, Mother, what should I do? Huayin cried, I'm sorry, Mother. She thought to herself, so it's over. I once wanted to become a useful person for the family. Huayin looked at Tang Muzong and said, I've lost all my inner qi. The old man took her hand and said, this little girl. Tang Muzong smiled and said, are you worried because you've troubled your father and the Tang family? You've achieved the effect of the 100 poisons transformation that you always wanted. Stop crying and be happy. She was bewildered, questioning, 100 poisons. Huayin raised her hand and saw a faint, pale blue aura. The aura radiated so powerfully that it astonished her. Huayin turned to her grandfather and asked, this is, the old man said, Huayin, I had something I wanted to tell you before. Tang Muzong cheerfully said, not only did he save your life, but he also helped you attain the 1,000 poisons inner qi, surpassing even the 100 poisons. That was thanks to a mysterious young hero. Huayin wondered, a weed? Everyone laughed, and Sacheon was embarrassed. He muttered, oh no, I'm obsessed with the 10 great venomous creatures, and I dared to call the young lady of a great family a weed. Tang Kielsan stood behind him, smiling smugly, watching him squirm. Sacheon thought, reprimand yourself, me of the past. He laughed awkwardly and said, Patriarch, you really know how to joke. It's a great honor to meet you, young miss. I am Wei Sacheon. Sacheon said, I heard that you were once ill, seeing you so healthy now is truly fortunate. Huayin hesitantly replied, yes, well. Then she cheerfully said, it's a great honor to meet you. Huayin introduced herself. I am Poison Flower Tang Huayin. I thank the young hero for saving my life. Poison Flower will never forget this kindness in her entire life. Huayin's introduction made Sacheon infatuated. He muttered, so beautiful. He spoke up, how do you feel? He was startled, muttering, what? I have a voice inside my head. This is the Tang sound transmission. He continued to transmit, even if it's just a weed, isn't it beautiful? Flower on the other shore, do you want to try picking it? Sacheon, hearing this, blushed with embarrassment. The scene shifts to the bathroom. He is lying in the hot water, relaxing. The young centipedes are sleeping soundly in a basin. Soryong enjoys, saying, "This is killing me." He looked over and saw that one young centipede had awakened. He muttered, "Normally, you're always clinging to me. Hot water isn't good for your bodies, do you want to get into the bucket for a while?" As soon as he finished speaking, it immediately crawled in as if it understood. Looking at these adorable little ones, Soryong said, "It's really strange, it seems like they understand some of what I say. According to old man Tang Kielsan, it seems they react to killing intent." He saw the little darlings looking, and smiled, saying, "Staring at a naked body like that will make someone embarrassed." Suddenly, they panicked and hid at the bottom of the bucket. He still laughed, muttering, "These kids are really." Soryong turned around and said, "Old Tang Kielsan once said, the centipede are spirit creatures. I have to say, after seeing what a spirit creature is." He suddenly realized something. Remembering the appearance of Tang Kielsan saying, "The flower on the other shore is really beautiful, do you want to try picking it once?" He muttered, "Old man Tang Kielsan's words keep echoing in my head, making it impossible for me to calm down. I have to get out of here quickly." The scene at the Tang family. Everyone was sitting in the room, seemingly discussing something. Inside the room was traditional Chinese culture and architecture, a type of room located on the east side of the main building in a Sichuan, a common type of house. If a person was in the east wing room, they were a distinguished guest. Tang Kielsan picked up his teacup and said, "So we'll arrange everything properly, right?" Tang Muzong wondered, "Such a young hero with such talent." He replied, "Yes, we thought we encountered a stroke of luck, but that luck wasn't due to the young hero's help, the young hero is the luck." Tang Kielsan continued, "This person's knowledge of poisons is extraordinary, not to mention they even killed Tua Yunyang and even encountered a legendary spirit beast like the Zhen bird." Before the astonishment of Madame Tang and Huayin, he said, "I heard the young hero even personally hatched the eggs of the azure-striped centipede." Tang Muzong laughed and said, "I really didn't expect to overlook such a treasure." Tang Kielsan replied, "That's right, father." He called Huayin, who was startled and confused. Tang Kielsan asked, "I want to take this young hero as my son-in-law, what do you think?" Huayin wondered, "You mean you want the young hero to be your son-in-law?" She said, "If it's a son-in-law then." Huayin hesitated, causing Madame Tang to look worried, then she lowered her head in silence. While waiting for an answer, Huayin murmured, "Now I have surpassed the 100 poisons realm and entered the 1,000 poisons realm. I want to prove that I can be of more help to the family." She spoke up, "I am also a member of the Tang family, I understand what father means by saying that." Huayin slammed her hand hard on the table and said loudly, "But..." Her eyes welled up with tears as she said, "Is that young hero truly worthy of me? I must verify it myself." After speaking, Huayin immediately ran out. Everyone inside sat and watched, a little worried. Tang Kielsan had a bad premonition and muttered, "Be careful, young hero." Watching his daughter's figure, he said, "The manhua flower, as beautiful as it is, also carries sharp thorns." Huayin murmured as she ran, "Now I have acquired the 1,000 poisons constitution. If I stop here, I won't be recognized by the elders in the family. I will thoroughly examine his qualities and character." After soaking, Soryong sat outside, enjoying the breeze. He wondered what to do. Soryong looked dejected and said, "It seems I made a bad impression on the young lady of the great family." The little centipedes didn't understand what he was saying. Soryong rubbed the azure-striped centipede in front of his chest and asked, "Father of you guys, what should I do?" Suddenly, Huayin appeared from behind and called, "Young hero," making him jump up and shout. She was panting because she had just run. Soryong wondered, Miss Huayin." She said, "Please excuse my rudeness, young hero. I'm a bit rushed." Looking at his bewildered expression, Huayin asked, "Could you lend me your hand for a moment?" Soryong held out his hand and said, "Yes, miss." Suddenly, he thought of something, his face turning red, and he said, that." Soryong looked embarrassed and said, "I don't know what miss is up to, but perhaps such things should wait until we are closer, don't you think?" He stammered, because we need to maintain propriety." She wondered, what? What do you mean, young hero? Huayin thought of something else, and her face immediately turned red. Her face was as red as a tomato as she said loudly, no, that's not it at all. What are you talking about? His face helpless, he muttered, so it's not, huh? It's not what you're thinking. I just wanted to check your pulse. I guess since I suddenly asked for your hand, you misunderstood. I see. I didn't realize that. First of all, I apologize. I appeared out of nowhere and acted rudely. You're still young and not yet of age, but you seem to be quite thoughtful, so I'll explain what's going on. Sure. What I heard afterward sounded like the plot of a typical medieval drama. As the only direct descendant, she constantly faced the wicked schemes of the branch families. Therefore, to ensure the continuation of the family line, the elders planned to bring in a highly capable son-in-law. They even considered how my standing in the family might change if I were to join it. So, let me apologize in advance, but there's something I need to confirm with you. Even if things don't turn out well, I have no intention of treating you poorly. You're my benefactor, so of course, we will treat you as a guest. No, how about something like sworn siblings? Understand what you mean. Feel free to confirm whatever it is you need to. Alright, let's begin. The martial arts of the Tang clan aren't something just anyone can learn. Some people can toxins into their bodies and master Tang clan's techniques, while others simply cannot. That's why the Tang clan's poison techniques require one to gradually adapt to the poisons as their internal energy grows. Only by accepting them all can one achieve mastery. Fortunately, your body is capable of learning poison techniques. However, it's only a 10 poisons body. This means your body can only handle 10 types of toxin. Having a 10 poisons body is impressive, especially for someone not born into the Tang clan, but, to be honest, in terms of general skill, it would only place you at the level of a first-rate martial artist. The highest martial prowess someone with no innate talent could attain. My apologies. Well then, I'll take my leave. Sure. Take care. I have a 10 poisons body. Does that mean I can't catch the Jinyao? For Sacheon, this was a serious matter. Ever since I took the inner core of the blue-spotted centipede, why does my body keep emitting this weird scent? I'm even bathing several times a day. Is this some kind of punishment for speaking ungratefully to the one who saved my life? I am deeply grateful for your boundless kindness, Miss Huayin. Thank you. Thank you, my benefactor. Am I dreaming? No, it may feel like a dream, but it isn't. I only borrowed the appearance of this girl who consumed my inner core, to avoid startling you. I am the mother of those creatures, the blue-spotted centipede. What? The blue-spotted centipede? Oh, you scared me. How long have you been here? So, these little ones are her babies? They're all girls. But how did you appear in my dream? I was killed without mercy, leaving my children behind. My grudge reached the heavens, and my spirit lingered in the inner core, while cursing from within the body of this girl who consumed my core. A chance to resolve my grudge arose, allowing me to appear like this in your dream. It's all because you brought my children with you, my benefactor. I see. In the end, I was the one who gave away her location. I didn't mean to, but I ended up being involved in the death of the blue-spotted centipede. If it doesn't trouble you, my benefactor, would you grant me one request? Of course. I'll fulfill any request you have. Could you take care of my children until they're fully grown? Aren't toads, I mean centipedes, supposed to become independent after molting twice from their mother's body? That may be true for lesser creatures, but we are different. Until the offspring of my species shed their shells twice, they remain dependent on the chi flowing from their mother's inner core. Afterward, they continue to grow by feeding on the true chi of other beings. Wait a minute. Since Miss Huayin consumed the inner core, doesn't that mean they'll need to stay close to her? You need to understand the circumstances, my benefactor. Earlier, I mentioned that I cursed that girl, didn't I? Yes. Because of my inner core, that girl's body is likely emitting a foul odor. A foul odor? I intended to ensure that no man would ever approach this girl, preventing her from ever bearing children. Goodness. In exchange for lifting this curse, how about letting my children absorb the chi from my inner core, and maybe, you could also win that girl's heart. That doesn't sit right with me. I don't wish to take advantage of Miss Huayin's difficult situation. You truly are a noble person, benefactor. But then, how do you plan to overcome this challenge? It seems that girl is looking for a strong man, and I can't exactly procure the inner core of the 10 great venomous creatures for you. My inner core has already been absorbed into that girl's body. The 10 great venomous creatures. I have an idea. Will you trust me on this? An idea? Just leave it to me. I think it will work out well. The next day, I see. So the smell coming from my body is due to the blue-spotted centipede's inner core. Yes, therefore, if you attach the centipedes to your body every few days and let them absorb the chi, the smell will naturally fade away. I feel a bit awkward asking this, but is it really okay for you to share this with me without asking for anything in return? You could have easily requested something as compensation. Well, I couldn't bring myself to take advantage of a woman's difficult situation. I refuse to be that shameless. Right. In that case, I won't just keep accepting your kindness without offering something in return. I'll seriously consider my father's words. Brother Sacheon, seeing you makes me realize there are things more valuable than talent or martial prowess. That being said, I've been doing some thinking as well. Thinking? You mentioned that I have a 10 poison body and can only absorb 10 types of toxins, correct? That's right. So I had an idea. If I can only take in 10 types of toxins, why not fill those 10 slots with the toxins of the 10 most venomous creatures of the Central Plains? The 10 types of toxins. Using the toxins of the 10 most venomous creatures. So he wants to become the strongest under the heavens for my sake. What? For one of the 3 flowers of Murim, the poisonous flower Tang Huayin, this was the first time a man had ever made such a bold confession to her. Do you even realize what you just said? I don't. That path will be incredibly tough and challenging. It might take 10 years or even 20 years. No, it could be a lifetime's worth of effort to take on such a challenge. Will it really take that long? Alright. Warrior Sacheon. I was told that you're 15 years old. In 3 years, when you come of age, ready to marry, if you manage to succeed in dealing with even one of the 10 great venomous creatures by then, I think I'll be convinced. That's why, if you succeed, there will definitely be a possibility of our wedding. Well, anyway, I'll be rooting for you. Yikes. I'll be off now. Lady Huayin. Do you still have something to say? Shouldn't you get treated? Why don't you stay, even if it's just for a couple of hours? You don't have to worry, these little ones never bite. Come now, kids. Go to your mom instead of your dad, alright? Dad? Mom? No, that's not what I meant. It's because they're kids. Even the extraordinary talent of this young warrior doesn't seem to be enough to win our daughter's heart. Did you see them this morning? It looked like something was going on between the two of them. It seems that young warrior was turned down by Huayin, father. Forcing a marriage indeed isn't the right thing to do. It would be better for the two of them to naturally develop feelings for each other. How about we let Huayin handle the young warrior's martial arts training? Wouldn't spending more time together help them grow closer? That's not a bad idea. Then, we should find out if the elder healer sage can bestow the grace of the purifying elixir of marrow and essence. If the young warrior's aptitude is low, it can always be raised. That wasn't even possible for Huayin, so I wouldn't get my hopes up too high, father. That's true. Indeed. Father, it's Huayin. Huayin. What brings you here at this hour? Come in. The three of you are all here. I came because I have something to say. Something to say? I will do as father said. What are you talking about? What did I say? That is. Could it be that the young warrior has caught your interest? Oh my. Oh, how did this happen so suddenly? I though wasn't to your liking before. Sacheon, the young warrior. He said he would become the greatest in the world for me. He promised me that. Oh my. What? The greatest in the world? Tell me more. So. Although his innate talent is only at the level of 10 poisons body, he promised to fill his gap by defeating 10 great venomous creatures. For my sake. What did you say? 10 great venomous creatures. That guy sure has a lot of guts. Good heavens, where else would you find a suitor like him? Though my heart is willing. I told him that I would only agree to the marriage if he could capture one of the 10 great venomous creatures before comes of age. I wonder if he understood my response. Why didn't you go for at least 3? If my daughter, that's the least you should aim for. Men aren't particularly sharp about such things, are they? Then, should I go and explain it to him properly? No, no. If he doesn't realize that we've already given him our approval, won't he try even harder? It's for your sake. So for now, treat him as a prospective son-in-law, but let's act as though we're still undecided. With all that effort, he'll naturally become part of the family. Truly impressive, benefactor. Haven't you completely won the lady's heart? Well, it's all about guts and perseverance. Benefactor, today will likely be my last. My resentment has been resolved, so my soul will soon ascend to the afterlife. Even my internal energy has almost completely dissolved within the lady's body. I see. Is there anything I can do for you, by any chance? If it's possible, I'll do whatever it is you ask. In that case, may I perhaps take a look at your body? That is to be expected, benefactor is a man after all. I can understand. It seems he has a weakness for lust. Wait a second. Do you really have to take it off? What? No way. Should I not take it off then? If that's what you prefer. No, no. That's not what I meant. I wanted to see the appearance of a blue-spotted centipede. If that's the case. Like this. Will this do, benefactor? Oh. Wow. You're real. You're really huge. Can I touch you for a moment? Does this happen to be waterproof? Wow, how does something this big even support your joints? I guess when you walk, you step exactly on the spot where your front legs tramp, right? My front legs? Can I touch your legs? You already touched them. How strong is your venom? Your eyes? Do you see with your eyes? Or is it your antennae? Well, of course. Then. Let me touch your fangs just once. What? That might be a bit dangerous. You said you'd grant any request. What are you even talking about, benefactor? Will my daughters really be okay? Thought the blue-spotted centipede to herself. This chitinous carapace. It gleams. Because his touch was anything but ordinary.